Okay. Yes, it is I, your humble host, Bill Hack the Third, coming to you live from the palatial studios of Bald Spots Productions here in the beautiful city of Irvine, California, for a very special episode of Not Quite After Midnight. I am joined by my guests from a more than acceptable safe social distance through the miracle of telephony, trying this for the first time on Zoom. Let's welcome Daisy Paige. Hi, Daisy. How you doing?
I'm great, Bill. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here. I've been waiting to see you for a couple months now.
I know it seems like forever. I see you've got the picture of your book back there.
Yes, sir.
And can you tell us the name of your book?
It is Unexpected Moments.
Unexpected Moments. And understand you have a rather famous person who did the what is it, the prologue or the introduction or
the foreword? Yes.
The foreword. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. Foreword.
Yeah, foreword by Kirk Cameron, the one and only Kirk Cameron.
Yep, the one and only. So how did you manage to get Kirk Cameron to write the foreword to Unexpected Moments?
Well, that's a story I love sharing. He had always been, of course, my celebrity heartthrob growing up, and had his posters all over my bedroom walls. And I had written him a letter and asked him for an autograph picture, and he never sent me one. And I gave him 3 months, and I tore all the posters down off the walls. I was really upset and heartbroken.
Oh.
But I've been diagnosed with a terminal condition, and my husband and I were going to go on a trip to Vermont to see my best friend that I haven't seen in a few years. And she came down with COVID, so we had to cancel that plan. And we were driving by our hometown church, and on the marquee it said that Kirk Cameron was going to be there and the next week. He said, well, since we can't go to Vermont, how would you like to go see Kirk Cameron? I said, I would love to. You don't have to ask me that again. So I called my stepmom and asked her if she wanted to go with me, and she agreed. So I went home and purchased the tickets, and we got VIP, and there was question and answers, and I raised my hand and I kind of put it down because I got a little shy. And a guy down the middle of the aisle, I'm in a wheelchair, by the way. And the guy down the middle of the aisle, he raised his hand, and Kurt said, yes, sir. And he said, the lady down on the end, she has a question for you. And I'm like, oh, geez, put me on the spot here, you know. But I was like, yeah, first of all, do you plan on having a Seavers reunion? And he said, well, you know, Alan Thicke passed away, but we've been talking about it with the other characters. And I said, another thing. So, Kirk, you broke my heart as a teen. Had your posters all over my bedroom wall. You were my celebrity heartthrob. And I wrote you a letter and asked you for your autograph, and you never delivered. I gave you 3 months, and you made me so upset I tore our posters down off the walls. He said, well, Daisy, I'm going to make, or he didn't know my name at that time. He said, but I'll make that up to you tonight. And I was like, okay. So after the event, we go outside and have little campfires. And I asked the security guard, I said, can you ask him if he'll sign my ticket for me? And he said, of course. So he was talking to some people, and after he got done, he came over and he said, so I gave him a bracelet that said defeatmsa.org, which is the condition I have. And he said, so it's terminal? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, can I pray for you? And he held my hands and he prayed for me. And I told him that, you know, a few months ago, I had had a dream or a vision that God told me my time on earth was nearly done, and I needed to tell my story from the beginning first. He goes, well, how do you plan on doing that? And I said, I don't know how to share my story. And he said, why don't you write a book? I said, okay, I've never wrote anything. I'm not a writer. And he said, just write and keep me updated. You know, here's my email address. Send me some chapters or let me know, keep me updated where you are. So I kept him updated. After I finished it, he said, send me the manuscript. I want to read it. So I sent him the manuscript. And then his manager sends me the forward, and it is an absolutely beautiful forward. I know you've read the book, so you've seen that forward in there. I've seen other forwards that he's done in other books, and they're just a couple of sentences, but he actually has a page in my book. So I felt very privileged. Him saying that I inspired him, he's the one that inspired me and motivated me to write this story in a book. So I feel honored to have been blessed with him, and I feel that God put me in his path for that reason, to help share my story.
That's a very sweet story. I've heard things about Mr. Cameron and all, and that just goes to show you how wonderful a person can be if they really want to be.
He's got a very genuine heart, that's for sure, and he kept his word. And he definitely made up for not sending me that autograph as a team.
Did he sign your ticket though?
He did. He did.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
He has a very beautiful handwriting, by the way.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I have terrible handwriting. I had to work on my signature and focus really hard to make it look even slightly legible.
I used to have a nice handwriting until I got this disorder, and now I write like chicken scratch.
Now, what's the name of the full name of your disorder?
It's called multi-system atrophy.
Multi-system atrophy.
Yeah,
And how does that just develop like genetically, or is that an environmental thing, or do they even know?
4 out of every 100,000 people in the US are diagnosed with this disorder at this time.
Wow.
That's how rare it is. And that's how unlucky of a card I pulled,
Yeah, that's not the lottery you want to win.
No, but this time it's not hereditary. There are 2 different types. There are MSAP, which is a Parkinsonism, and then there's a MSAC, which is a cerebellum. Cerebellum is where that part of the brain shrinks. But I have the P. I have the Parkinsonism. So most of the time, people with the P are diagnosed with Parkinson's for a few years before.
Oh, wow.
Proper diagnosis is given, and the Parkinson medicine wasn't working for me, so that neurologist sent me to a movement disorder specialist, and he spent about 2.5 hours with me, and immediately he was like, "No, this is not Parkinson. You have MSA." I said, "Can you help me? Will I get better?" And he said, "Unfortunately, no." So I can keep it from progressing quickly, but it does progress rapidly, and fortunately, he has not been able to slow the process down. And each time I see him, I've progressed even more. So it's only about a 5 to 7 year life expectancy.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons why I didn't want to wait for you to be on the Thursday night show, because I wanted to get the chance to talk to you.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, it's all right. Not like I was doing anything important anyway.
Oh, I doubt that, Bill. You seem very busy. I've been watching your podcast, and you are very busy, and you do important work.
Well, I try. I mean, I help. I'm working on helping people develop as Christian leaders, and so I like to think that it's going to have a positive effect on the world, but we'll see what happens. Go as the Lord leads.
And that's what my motto is, and right now I'm pushing through all the pain and everything because I want to make sure that my story gets told, because I didn't write it out of pity. I wrote it because I want to motivate and inspire other people to know that they're not alone in life circumstances, and that God is always with you and he will help you.
Now, I don't want to ruin the book. First off, where can Unexpected Moments be found for people who would like to purchase a copy?
It is a very lengthy link, so I do share it on my Facebook page, which is Daisy Paige Author.
Daisy Paige Author.
Yes, and Paige has an I, so it's Paige.
Yeah, I-G-E. Okay, great.
But it's
And
ex-Libris.
is it available? Is it available only on your website, or is it on Amazon, or?
Well, that's the other thing. I am donating 10% of my proceeds to the charity defeatmsa.org.
Oh, great.
to help research a cure for this condition. Possibly not going to be during my time, but further down the road. But the more proceeds I get come from the link Ex Libris, which is on my Facebook page. If
Okay.
you donate to, if you buy it from Amazon or Barnes and
Right
Nobles
about
or
that.
anything, I only get like $1.50, so that doesn't give them that much money to research on.
Well, we'll have to sell 1 billion copies of your book.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Oh, it'd be awesome if I had 1 billion people following the podcast. Now, I don't want to ruin the book, but what are some of the important points that you make in the book? Because I want
Well,
people to read it.
I've been sexually, physically, and emotionally abused.
Oh, goodness.
I became a Christian at the age of 9, and there were times that I thought, Lord, I'm a devoted Christian. I go to church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, and every Wednesday. Why am I being punished? Why do these bad things keep happening to me? I was raped when I was 14. I married a very abusive man. We had 3 children. And I always prayed, I had this one really great boyfriend that I thought was too good for me, because I thought throughout my life I had dealt with being, with all the suffering. And I thought that's how life is supposed to be. It was normal. So I thought he's too good for me. I don't deserve him. So I broke things off. And I always prayed, please bring him back to me. I shouldn't have let him go. And the Lord brought him back to me long enough to help me get out of that bad situation from that marriage. And then he was gone. I had been assaulted where I didn't want to, or almost didn't make it at times. But I know and I believe by the grace of God that I made it in order to share this story, because he told me when I was 14 years old, you're going to have a testimony that you're going to share one of these days. You're one of my chosen to go out and help others. I was like, Lord, I don't have a story. One of these days, you're going to have a really great story, and it's going to help people. You'll see. And lo and behold, he gave me that story to share. And like I said, and that's why I wrote on the back of the book, that I had to go over speed bumps and jump over hurdles and cross broken bridges, because I suffered emotional, spiritual, and physical pain. I didn't want to give too much of the book away there either, but I feel now that it didn't give enough of it away to inspire readers to read it. So, I want to share a little bit more on each podcast to let them know what exactly those hurdles were, so that they'll be more inspired to pick up a copy.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I hope lots of people are inspired to pick up a copy. Certainly love to raise money for the foundation and all.
What did you think of the book, Bill? You read it?
I didn't read it.
Oh,
I
you
haven't
didn't?
read it yet. No, I like going into the interviews cold, so that I'm asking the same kinds of questions that people who haven't read the book are asking.
Gotcha. Okay, I
So,
misunderstood. I thought you had read it. I sent you a
oh
little.
nope, not yet. I will though, I promise.
Oh, I know you will.
But yeah, let's see. So Kirk Cameron inspired you to write the book. What helped you along the way? What helped you keep writing?
I met Kurt last October, and
Okay.
the day after I met Kurt, I actually picked up my laptop and started writing. And every day I prayed to God, give me the words to put on the page. Every day he did. They just came out. Some of it was repressed memories that I didn't remember anymore. But as I wrote, they were just flowing. It was very therapeutic. But after I wrote it was like that release, and then they were gone. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I forgave everybody that harmed me, and that also gave me peace too, because I believe you have to forgive in order to be forgiven.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that I share in my story, forgive to be forgiven, vengeance is the Lord's. He will give justice. There will be justice for anyone that harmed you or done you wrong.
Mhm.
They have
Right.
to repent to him. But every day I prayed for him to give me the words, and I devoted about 3 or 4 hours a day. January, I finished the book,
Wow.
and March 7th, it was published.
Huh. And
So
are you self-published or traditionally published?
I self-published through Ex
Self-published.
Libris.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Through who?
Ex Libris,
Libris.
XLIBRIS. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Did you have an editor help you, or is this raw from the heart?
No, basically, Ex Libris came with an editing package, and
Oh, great.
that it was basic editing though.
Sure.
They didn't have to do many changes at all.
Yeah.
And of course, I use Word, and that kind of edits as you go too. So that
Yeah, it's good
helped.
to have a proofreader.
Yes. And then also, before we sent the final manuscript in, my husband we both proofread it together. So,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, I've known my husband since I was 5 years old. We've been married for 12 years. We've been
Wow.
friends all of our life. And he's another one of my little earth angels. And I couldn't make it through these days without him. He has to do everything for me. I'm 100% dependent on him. I can't get myself in and out of bed. He has to cut my food up for me. He has to bathe me, brush my hair,
Wow.
put my hair up, anything like that. I have
Mhm.
to rely on him for it.
You know, God gives us the people we need if we're open to Him.
Yes, he does. Because one of my ex-husband, he would have left me high and dry, like, I am not going to be responsible for taking care of you. That's just how, he was.
Yeah, my dear friend from church who passed away a few years ago from cancer. She was in a similar situation in that her husband didn't want to do anything to help take care of her, and I ended up helping her, but he ended up changing too, and by the end of her life, he was helping nightly with all of her needs, and he'd changed because of God touched his heart, and he opened up
Prayers
to
did that, didn't they?
yep, a lot of prayers.
Yeah.
But,
Before I became, or before I started having symptoms, my I would even help my ex-mother-in-law. She had brain and lung cancer. I would go over to her house and cook and take her to doctor's appointments and things like that. Never did I think that, I was going to be the one that was going to have to be cared for. I was always very active. I did yoga every day. I managed condos on the beach. There was 185 condos, and I had to
wow.
walk, each one of them to do evaluations before guests checked in. 11 floors. Sometimes elevators were out, and I had to carry luggage up and down stairs for guests. And so I was very, very active and on the beach, walking every day, playing with my nieces and nephews. And if there was one thing I could change, Bill, it would be not to take life for granted or your health for granted, because one day in a blink of an eye it can be all gone, and you can lose the use of just basic necessities, daily necessities that you have to do.
Yeah.
And that's just a hard lesson learned, because I did, I feel like I did. I took my health for granted,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, we can't. Yeah, the Bible teaches us we can't take anything for granted because we don't know when God's going to place that call, and
That's true.
and have us give an accounting of ourselves. But it definitely sounds like you're making the most of things now, and
I am sure trying. I tried to do book signings in person, and I did one in South Texas where we did live, and I managed
mhm.
those condos on the beach. And it was so hard on me. I hurt every day except for the day of the book signing, and I think that was just an adrenaline rush.
Right.
Um, but other than that, every day it took a really big toll on me. It took me like 3 weeks to recover after that. So I said, I'm going to stick to podcasts and radio interviews, and I'm just going to keep pushing through that way. I can still share my story right here from home. So that's my
Absolutely.
plan. Until I can't anymore, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Do what you can, and don't worry about what you
That's right. And I'm only scratching the surface. There's many other things that I went through in my life. As far as I've dealt with family members being murdered,
can.
family members committing suicide, really hard, terrible, terrible tragedies. That I believe that I went through everything I did in order to make me strong enough to face what I have ahead, because you have to be strong in order to deal with this disorder.
Sure.
I've got a support group that I talk with on Facebook, and we all vent, share our symptoms, and everybody talks about, the P has more pain than the C.
Mhm.
And it is very painful. You suffer from, as you progress, neuropathy throughout your body. And what it really does is start shutting down your respiratory system, your circulatory system, your urinary system, all your autonomic systems. They're what starts. They shut down. That's what happens with the disorder.
Wow, that's a lot to deal with. What helps you along the way?
I go to as much aquatic therapy as I can. Um, Walking in water is it's a little harder than you'd think it would be. But first time I got in, I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I could walk. And I got in the water again and just start flipping over and going under. But they have treadmills that you can walk, on underwater,
Wow.
things like that. That helps. And then of course I have to take I'm on a lot of medication for nerve
Sure.
pain and for just pain in general. You have neck and back pain and joint pain. I have to go every 3 months and get Botox injections in my neck. That really helps. I just got some last week, but it takes about 2 weeks before they kick in, and loosens up your neck muscles and your shoulder muscles that in about 2 weeks. And that gives me some relief for about 4 to 6 weeks, but don't last very long.
Sure. It's a lot to deal with. If there was one thing that you'd want people to get out of reading Unexpected Moments, what would it be?
It would be, I know everybody goes through their trials and their tribulations, and I want them to know, I tried to commit suicide a couple of times, and I have a family member that stopped me from committing suicide in the 90s that committed suicide last year.
Wow.
To know that they're not alone, and they may feel alone, but there's someone out there that's going through something just as bad as you are, even worse. And suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Get help. Try to talk to someone, whether it be someone in church, a counselor. I have a counselor that I've been talking to for 5 years. She's a Christian counselor. And when I was writing my book, I would go through the difficult chapters, and it would be so hard on me, but God timed it just right that when I hit those difficult chapters, it would be time for her appointment with her. So that was very helpful. But, so there's someone out there that will help you. And reading my book, I think it gives you inspiration and motivation to know that if someone can go through these things and still have the faith I do and know God's there and He always is, He's there for you too. And if you don't mind, I'd like to share a poem. I actually had it published 20 years ago,
Oh, wow.
but I put
So
it in
this isn't your first published work.
well, just one poem, but I put this in my book because it's very meaningful and it speaks to the heart, so to speak. It's called Eternal Love. Endless days, sleepless nights, as we go through our constant fights, do we really get what we see, or is it totally up to me? Struggling through our trying times, burdened by the price of crimes. Truly, as each day ends, know that God's your only friend. As footprints in the sand did say, He really carries us all the way. Know this, for it is up to you. He already knows what you should do. Find your faith from heaven above, and you will have eternal love.
That's pretty.
I've always loved footprints in the sand,
Yeah.
that really spoke to me. And one more thing I'd like to read is Kirk Cameron's Forward.
Oh, sure.
That really gives people an idea, I think, and motivates them to want to read the book. So I try to share this every time. It was an autumn night in Texas when I first met Daisy. She came up in a wheelchair next to me at the campfire. Her smile was bright. She shared her journey with me and told me she did not have much time left on earth. I told her to write down her story, and I would do anything I can to help share it with the world. I only spoke with her briefly that night, but her attitude and resilient spirit inspired me. I hope this book of an individual's incredible journey throughout emotional, physical, and spiritual pain, and coming through the other side of tragedy, still praising the Lord, will encourage you in your present situation. Daisy's message will bring you comfort and remind you that you are not alone in your struggles or life circumstances. I pray her words will bring you hope. There is one who knows the plans he has for you, plans to give you hope in the future. Jeremiah 29:11. Kirk Cameron.
Very thoughtful.
It was. It's very beautiful. I wasn't expecting all that from him, and to know that I could inspire someone like Kirk Cameron, it tears me up every time I read that.
Sure. Well, I don't want to keep you. I know things can be physically draining for you, but is there anything else you'd like to say to the people?
No, but only that if you read my book, in the back I do have information about MSA.
Okay.
About the symptoms, and I just want to create, also that's my goal, is to create awareness about this rare condition.
Right.
And there's also a link in there, even though I'm donating some of the proceeds, there's a link in the back of the book, defeat-donate-to-us/ so that if they want to donate to post or anything to the charity as well, they can, to help with
That
the
would be
race.
great if they could.
Yes.
And, yeah. So, well, I hope first they buy and read Unexpected Moments by Daisy Paige, and you can find the link on Daisy's Facebook page, Daisy Paige Author, and I'll put the link to that in the comments, so people can find that real easily.
Okay.
And everything. Now, there's a question I ask all of my guests right before we're done. So, consider a hot dog in a bun. Is it a sandwich?
That's a good question. No, it's a hot dog. No, actually, yeah, it is a sandwich. It's sandwiching that hot dog between the bread.
Okay. I challenge anyone to argue with Daisy about that.
I don't see a right or wrong answer to that question, though.
There really isn't. Yeah, there really isn't. It's just a silly question.
It's one that'll make you think, that's for sure.
All right, Daisy. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Bill, thank you for having me. Like I said, we we made contact back in May, so it's been a
Yeah.
while. I've been waiting so patiently to be able to share my story with your podcast, and I've been watching your shows and get me more and more excited to come on and talk to you. So I'm glad we got our technical difficulties out of the way today, and we're able to
Yeah.
visit.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope it was worth the wait.
Oh, it so much was, and I hope it was for you as well.
Absolutely, it was.
All right. Well, thank you for having me again, and you have a wonderful day, and God bless you. And
thanks, you
God
too.
bless all the listeners as well.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to thank Daisy again for being my guest. I, of course, am your humble host, Bill Hatch III. And I say that because I have another podcast with my father, who's Bill Hatch Jr. And we do a Bible study on Tuesday nights and a topical study on Saturdays. But don't miss YWL Online, and don't miss a regular edition of Not Quite After Midnight. Let's see. If you feel led, please head over to Patreon and support the show. It's under Bald Spots Pro. And tune in on Thursday for Stacy Chillemi and Justin Williams. We'll be having our little roundtable discussion. And tune in tomorrow night or Tuesday night for YWL Online's Totally Approachable Bible Study for All. We'll be continuing our journey through the book of Psalms. And then on Saturday, we'll be hitting Acts 2 as part of Dr. John Barnett's 52 greatest chapters of the Bible study. Let's see, please like, comment, and share. We need to kick that algorithm into gear so we can reach more people. And that's about it, I think. Thanks again, Daisy, for your time and patience with me.
My pleasure. It was an honor.
Oh, the honor was truly mine. And I will bid you a fond adieu.